All the sports news you need. Live.
And very good evening to you. Welcome to the locker room on Indie Live Radio and Independence Live. We're here until 7 o'clock tonight. Of course, you can comment below on YouTube, if you're watching it on YouTube and Facebook Live. So we're hopefully joined by Reagan later on. But in the meantime, we have the wonderful man himself, Dave Smith.
Evening, Michael. Hope we're well. Pleased it's Friday. Can't wait for the weekend.
Yeah, you've had a busy week. Now, I know you're very excited to be here, right? And I'm not talking about the big game tonight between Cumnock and Dumbarton in the Scottish Cup, right?
Well, that's the game I'm going to watch on the telly after this.
Yeah, well, so am I. But I am talking about, everybody's talking about this. They're getting the knickers in the quest about it. It's VAR coming into Scottish football tonight. And we're going to speak about that later on. If you've got any comments that you want to make about VAR, you can do so in the chat. We're here until 7 o'clock tonight. And also you can leave a comment on Twitter. We are the Locker Room. We are Locker Room Indie on Twitter as well. Okay, Dave. There's only one place to start, and that is the birth of VAR coming into Scottish football. People's getting over the top about it. That even that psychic they forgot about. We've to appoint a new Prime Minister very soon, but never mind, we'll leave that to another show and another day. So what's your thoughts on it coming into Scottish football at last?
I've seen the BBC programme last night, Friend or Foe. I thought it was a very intriguing programme. Intriguing programme in many aspects. That you had the Motherwell players asking, is that what you're going to tell the referee if that situation does arise? Is it what's the overall permutations behind what's going to happen behind penalties, behind everything that surrounds with football and indeed VAR? And I think we're going to go off to a very slow start. A very slow start in the aspect of you see what happened in England, you see what happened in the Women's Euros when that came along. You've seen what happened when that happened, and I think we're going to get off to a very slow start. We're going to watch Sportscene tomorrow on Sunday night, and there's going to be one controversy. No, sorry, I'm going to give you a prediction here. There'll be 4 issues that'll be talking points in the newspapers and across the media this weekend, just because of how we're just transitioning in such a short space of time.
Do you think players will go out the way, Dave, to make a kind of bad tackle or that just to get VAR involved in the game?
No, not specifically. I mean, obviously, Hibs and St George still be a decent enough game tonight. I mean, I think it's good that we've got a Friday night game because it gives everybody from the outside looking in, apart from Hibs and St George, and that opportunity to go and see what it's going to be like for their own specific teams. Now, I'm working at an aspect, Michael, that I go and cover at this precise moment in time, Lower League football. So I don't really need to worry about being that journalist at Gayfield Park tomorrow writing Michael McKenna had a goal for a bro disallowed due to VAR. I'm working that aspect. So, yeah. It's going to be an interesting weekend, and one I'm intrigued to hear back from. But yeah, there's going to be a lot happening, and I think tonight will give us the perfect indication of how things are going to prevail this weekend in particular.
We're now joined by the man himself, the VAR watcher from an office somewhere in Glasgow. Reagan, how are you?
I'm doing well, Michael. Sorry it took me a while to get logged in there. I was logging into the setup, but yep, I'm doing well. Looking forward to VR being in the night. Looking forward to watching the game at Easter Road. I'll be looking forward to seeing how it plays out. And yep, here we go.
What's your thoughts on it, Reagan? Kind of overall, because I spent the day listening to about four or five top flight managers, and they asked a question. I was saying that to Dave before I came on, and I think I said to you as well that the only manager I didn't really bother about it was Mr. Cool himself, Mr. Andy Postecoglou.
Yeah, what I did find interesting, lads, was David Martindale was quite amusingly said that it'll be good that it's at Ibrox tomorrow, because then if Rangers do get a penalty that is wrongly not a penalty, then it'll be chopped off, which I find quite funny. But in terms of Ange, I think Ange is just meaning in terms of the excitement, because people were excited for it to come in. But I think Ange said before, Michael, you'll know this from watching him, but he said that as long as Celtic do the talking on the park, then they'll no need to bother about VAR. So, yep, I'm just looking forward to seeing it coming in. I'm not a big fan of it myself, but because I don't know if you guys watched the Premier League last night. It was at Aston Villa. Obviously, Steven Gerrard got the sack on the back of the job. But what I would say to that, guys, is that the fact that I don't know if you guys seen it, but the penalty incident from is it Cash? Now he can't move out the way of that, and there's no way in hell that ball is going to target. So what Mitrovic has done is he's hit the ball onto his hand, right? But it's going nowhere towards the goal anyway. So the player can't get himself out of the way. So as much as it's a handball, it's not a handball. If you get what I mean.
Yeah. Dave, what do you think of the comments from, obviously we're going to speak about the Hibs game in a minute, but what do you think about the Hibs manager Lee Johnson quote in the Edinburgh Evening News tonight, saying that there should also be former players fast track into becoming match officials?
Sorry, players getting fast tracked into becoming officials.
Yeah. I think what he means by that is VAR officials and Skigger match officials, kind of like on the park.
Right, okay, right. I didn't understand you initially. Okay, interesting. I mean, I'm a big believer in the aspect of players should become involved in football after they play their careers anyway, because you see it in managers, there's a lot of experienced managers in the game that have went and played the game. There's a lot of referees that have played the game and they went to referee, and Sean Murdoch used with Hibs and Dunfermline springs to mind. There's a lot of players and ex-players going in the media game. So I can understand what Lee Johnson's saying in that regard, because I mean, if we can get players that have went to play the game, went to other fields of the game in the aftermath of their careers, I think it's always a good thing for football, and indeed football here in Scotland.
Yeah, no, exactly. I find it very interesting that, obviously, I don't know if this is actually correct, right? But of all the managers that I've listened to today, especially Van Bronckhorst, it seems as though Scottish football's like the last country to install VAR. I mean, what does that say about our game?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
Quite simply, we simply need VAR in order for Scottish referees to be participating in European football. That's primarily what it is.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing as well, because you look at we did have Bobby Madden that participated in UEFA, but you've had Wally Collum who's been downgraded by UEFA. So the fact that we've got VAR now might give a John Beaton. My God, can you imagine that John Beaton in Europe? But it might give a John Beaton a chance to play in Europe, or it might give a Wally Collum a chance to be back in Europe again.
Now, I missed that programme last night, Dave, but I think I got the gist of what they were talking about. But I was at the Celtic game the other night, right? And the interesting thing for me, guys, is apart from, say, Parkhead, Guybrucks and Hampden, right? They've got the big screens up in the Skigum to let the fans see if it was offside, onside, or whatever kind of thing. But I never saw anything at the likes of Fir Park. So I'm thinking about, like Fir Park, Ross County, like Dermot Park. I mean, how are they going to do it? Get in, get in, Buggy, know in the comments, because I don't know.
No, I think what they're speaking about is that they'll basically detect the referee from their studio in Glasgow's East End. They'll basically say like we see an incident, and then somebody will get that Apple iPhone out, the Apple 14, and just show them it. No, I'm only joking. I'm only joking. I'm not actually sure, Michael. I don't know if Dave will know about his position in the media. Don't know if Dave will know.
I don't know the full complexity of his either, to be honest with you, but what I was going to say is all the games are pretty much covered by, obviously, the BBC in the aspect of you see Leanne Kite and Stephen Thompson, all the pundits basically sitting out on their sofa on a Saturday afternoon with a cup of tea and a marshmallow, basically watching the games on a big screen on the open on mics on a Saturday afternoon. So I'm presuming VAR will get the same level of access as what the BBC team do.
Now, Gazelle, know this.
I'm not a fan of marshmallows, but fair enough.
No, name actually. No, well, a wee cup of tea and a wee biscuit. That would be nice. Gazelle, right? I heard during the week. You know how many cameras they've got at every Premiership game in England for VAR?
I think it's quite a lot.
They'll be about 20.
36.
36.
Right. Compare that to the VAR coming into Scottish football. You know how many cameras are going to be at every game?
About 5 or 6.
Exactly, Dave. 6. So that's how important the VAR is to Scottish football. So basically, I don't think the SFA is taking this serious enough.
Well,
Regan, did you watch that programme last night on the BBC?
No, what was I watching last night? I was watching Aston Villa against Fulham last night.
All right. Well, there was an under-14s game they did at Livingston's ground. So Livingston already had the VAR in, for anybody who doesn't know, right? And there was an under-14s game. It was basically basically two sets of the club academy teams playing against each other. And there was what you could look at VAR excluded as a soft penalty. Basically, ball comes into the box, defender challenges, doesn't take the player out, but it's one of those where you get the ball, but the player slides in, if you understand what I mean. And there was the VAR decision ended up being no penalty, but the referee gave the penalty.
Yeah, I think what it's going to do, Dave, is it's going to lose its soul, because you're going to get like, for instance, you're going to get a Motherwell that maybe if if Rangers put a bad tackle in, like that one by Leon King, I think if you got that, if you get that tackle this weekend, Dave, I think Leon King will be off the park, because what happens in England is, right? What happens in England is they show you the VAR, but then they slow it down. You know that they slow it down. What is the point of slowing it down? Put it in put the incident in real speed.
Well, quite simply, Commander don't get a penalty on Tuesday if VAR's in play.
Yep.
See the difference is, though, Dave. I think they do. Because look at the Aston Villa one last night. It pops up in the guy's hand. The guy can't move anywhere.
100%, yeah.
And you think, why are we teaching that you need to have your hands behind your back? See to jump for a header to score a goal. in the last minute. You need
You need your hand.
you need
Yeah.
your hand to jump, to physically
Yeah.
jump. Not that I can physically jump myself, but I've been told by people that you need your hand to jump up. But anyway, what I'm basically saying is that we're taking the soul of the game, Dave.
100%.
I mean,
Michael.
I'm good night. Thanks for watching. I'm all for VR coming in, but I mean, as me and Glenn said a few weeks ago on the show, it depends who's actually watching it.
Aye, because the biggest problem for me is right that we've got. I heard Leanne Crichton say last night. Now, what is going to happen is I don't know if you've heard this, Dave, but what is going to happen is the plan for the SFA is that what they're going to do is they're going to have what they call a grade 1 referee. So like a Willie Collum, John Beaton, Nick Walsh. They're going to have a grade 1 referee on the pitch, but they're going to have a grade 1 referee in the VR as well. So that is why you've got Willie Collum on VR tonight, because in all the high profile games they want a grade 1 referee to be on the pitch, but they also want a grade 1 referee to be on the VR.
Correct.
Can someone tell me as well why Stephen McLean is on VR duty tomorrow? Yeah, it was on the Celtic game last week. So I mean that can't be right. Two games in a row.
It'll be because they're shorter bodies in order to go and make sure there's sufficient numbers for VAR.
Yeah.
And Dave, I want to ask you this, Billy. See the thing where they're saying a grade 1 referee on every incident and stuff like that, right? But surely, if you want a grade 1 referee in the VAR, how many grade 1 referees have we got? We can't have
yeah.
Well, that's a very interesting question, and I'll elaborate because I can give you a good point on this. See, the championship referees we have in Scotland, they're all grade 1 referees, right? But not every single one of them is experienced enough or entitled yet to referee a Premiership game. So you'll see sometimes them going in and being a VAR, you'll see somebody maybe doing a Kilmarnock Celtic, for example, having refereed a Brough against Morton on the Saturday.
Yep. I think the biggest problem with this, Michael, is that there's going to be a lot to discuss every week. There is, right? See me going on a Friday and me going on a Sunday, we're going to be scratching our head, man. I mean, I'm nearly going bald at the thought of it. I've not got a lot of hair left, but I'm nearly going bald. We're going to have so many comments in. See this time next Friday, Michael, we're going to have so many comments coming. Even in the Sunday show, we're going to have so many comments coming in because people are going to be going, oh, well, I think Hearts should have had a Stonewall penalty because that's the same sort of incident that happened against Rangers last week. You know, you're going to have so many talking points, and I don't think people actually realise until it comes in. But I think what the one thing that was good for me was I didn't actually realise that with VR we don't get glowing technology, which is quite interesting because I thought with VR we would have some sort of glowing technology, but that'll be interesting if they have to go to the screen and judge if it's a goal or not.
Well, let's look at Van Bronckhorst's comment, right? Obviously, we'll come back to the Rangers game later on, right? But he was saying that, so they were asking every manager about VR, right? And Van Bronckhorst says Holland was the first country to use VR, and I had it in China. But last week I was watching an MLS game on a Saturday night, and they even had VR as well. So it brings me back to the point I made at the
You're
top
right,
of the
mate.
show.
You're right, mate. From America, like that's more Ange Postecoglou than American. Sorry about that.
But it really brings me on to my point about why are we the last country to have it. I mean, even China's had it and Holland's had it as well.
Michael, but I'm sorry to tell you, China is the capital of money, so they're going to have a lot of money in China, and so is America. America's bulldozed with a lot of money. I mean, David Beckham owns one of the clubs over there. You know,
Okay, Reagan, they've got a lot of money, right? But okay, in Scottish football, skin and its knees at times, right? But why bring it in a quarter way through the season? Why
Yeah,
give them no bring it?
I don't agree with that at all, Michael. I think it's a disgrace that they've done this. I think,
I think they bought at the pound shop.
Yeah, I just find it strange that they would do that because I think it was Callum Davidson that said he wasn't happy with it because brought in halfway through the season. I totally get what it means because you're kind of jeopardizing the product. You know, because you're going to get players that are going to be scared to do certain aspects. Now, I watched Man U Liverpool about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and Virgil van Dijk, right? He's going for the ball, and the Man U player scores. I think it's Rashford, but Van Dijk's standing there with his two hands behind his back. But that is because of VAR. Because if he puts his hand anywhere near Rashford, it's a handball.
Well, there was a clear goal-scoring opportunity. Was it St Johnson or Hibs when they went to Ibrox? And remember the one where I think it was Goldson putting the guy back in the box? I don't know if you guys can remember that, but it was Ibrox.
I do against Ross County.
Ross County, yeah. It was Sands. It was Stuart Sands.
Aye, but in saying that, like I was clear to everyone, right? So obviously everything goes to VR. Like the wee man eats a pie, it goes to VR. But everybody can see that was a clear penalty. So
I stand by my opinion. I stand by my opinion that we can question that. Had it not been for the misdemeanors that surrounded us the week previous with regards to that Hibs Rangers game, that would have had much more serious consequences than it did. It was because of how the referees got so much flack the week previously.
See if we were lucky enough with a program, Michael, to get something like John Beaton or Bobby Badden or something like that, right? The one question I would ask them was, why the hell do you watch VAR in slow motion? Because see if you watch a Rangers player tackle a Ross County player in slow motion, it's going to look worse.
Reagan, I don't know if you had David Martindale's comment, right? Because obviously he was asked about it when they got Ibrox, right? And he was saying that if it went to VR, if Livingston committed a foul against Rangers and that was a penalty, the ref's got to basically cave in because he's in front of like 50,000 fans. And,
I did see that, Michael.
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting. And it's the same, by the way, it's the same when it goes to Celtic Park as well.
It might be interesting, but I suppose the big thing for Scottish football as a whole, Michael, is the fact that I think we need to be sensible and realise that as much as everybody's excited about it, we just want the technology to be used properly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't want this to be like everything to go to VR. We don't want somebody's toenail being offside. You know, I don't want Celtic or Rangers to score a last minute winner and then it goes to VR. I mean, can you imagine, right? Can you imagine, right? If let's just say, for instance, Celtic go to Ibrox, right? And Kyogo scores the winner. He's sprinting down the touchline, celebrating with the fans. The fans are screaming, going nuts. But he goes, "No, mate, you're a millimetre offside."
Yeah. Well, one thing I don't really understand about VR, right? See the goal. Well, Cape fans can Kyogo. You mentioned him, but he scored a goal, right? And they restart the game at the centre, and the ball goes up the other end, and then the ref gets a call to say, by the way, see that goal with Kyogo after 8 minutes? That was offside. So, you know, what they're going to do, rule that goal off?
I think they can all. I think it's Dave will correct me if he's journalistic there, but I'm sure it's until the ball goes out of play they can only check. Is that right, Dave?
What about Let's move on to tonight's.
It's not often I get things right, Dave. So thanks for that.
Well, let's move on to tonight's game then. Before we go on to speak about the most exciting game in the world, Hibs and St Johnstone, only because it's VAR.
Oh my God!
Let's speak about Cunnock and Dumbarton in the Scottish Cup. Looking forward to seeing that on the telly as well, and also Porrock has got a game on Monday night as well. I can't remember who they're playing actually. Yeah, so
they played Aaron Pollock.
Annan at Porrock, yeah. So looking forward to seeing that game on Monday night. But yeah, so I'll be between the Dumbarton game as well, Reagan.
Yeah, I'll be watching both. I'll have my two eyes on the games. But what I do like is the fact that these lower teams are getting profiled. But I think it's important that we showcase these teams and show we've got a good product, because Scotland we've often showed the fact that we're often put down. But yeah, I think it's great that local channels are showing it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Dave, let's go on to speak about Hibs and St Johnstone. I think it's a sellout this game, only because Hibs rolled the price of the tickets. I think, did you not say £5, Reagan?
It is. And some would argue the biggest club in Edinburgh that they've sold it once in a woman.
Well, just because Mr. Duffy's not here, he would tell you the Hearts Legacy team's the biggest team in Edinburgh.
Was there also tickets for £1? Were they sell tickets for £1?
No,
not sure.
Was it maybe £1 for kids?
Yeah, maybe £1 for kids, but it was £5 for adults. I know that.
Now,
that's cool.
Now, this is an obvious mistake here by the SFA, right? I was trying to work out yesterday, how did they make Hibs and Hearts be at home on the same weekend? And they say it's a computer picks out the fixtures. I don't know. Maybe it's a dinosaur. I'm not sure. Anyway, enough about my Jurassic Park moment. Let's go on to speak about the game, Dave. Hibs and St Johnstone.
I think it's going to be an interesting game, because I mean you've got Hibs at home who are going on a really good run just now. They've picked up some really good wins, Hibs, and they're in a really good position. They'll be right up there in the form table. But I think it's the St Johnstone side that are jaded, hot and cold. They're an interesting one, St Johnstone. I read a stat last weekend after the games that they've got the same points totals they did last season when they had the playoffs. So that's an interesting concept. And let's be honest, have St Johnstone got a better squad this year? I think they do. Have they got the same quality? That's a hard question to answer. What they do lack is Zander Clark. Now, I like Remy Matthews. I think Remy Matthews is a good goalkeeper. He's not got the calibre and the stature and the presence of what Zander Clark had. That's the difference for me.
Yep, and I think it'll be a home win simply for that fact. I think you look at the tail of the two goalkeepers, David Marshall and Remy Matthews. Remy Matthews played for Hamilton.
See, a lot of people forget that David Marshall's at Hibs.
Yeah, but not only that. People forget that Remy Matthews, as Regan touched upon, used to be at Hamilton.
Yeah. But Lee, I was listening to Lee Johnson yesterday because he gave his press conference yesterday, and they referred to St Johnstone because he said that St Johnstone is picked up over the last couple of weeks, and he says it's going to be a difficult game.
Yep.
But he said that we need to be careful. Reagan, do you think it's a big night for Hibs? Because if they win, hopefully some of the Hibs fans will come back to support the team. Because I don't know about you, but the last few times I watched the Hibs games on the TV, the highlights and whatever, it's a big fan base, but They don't sell
Yep.
that out enough.
Dave, I want to ask you, right, because you know this from your journalistic point of view. I did see Hibs said today that it's on. You can watch the game tonight in the UK, so for pay-per-view, right?
£10.
Right, so I want to ask, right? So why did Neil Doncaster say at the start of the season that pay-per-view was no more, and then he went and done this?
Yeah, it's not the pay-per-views no more because of this agreement with Sky Sports. It means that clubs who play with the 3 o'clock Saturday time, like what Hibs are doing tonight, it means they can do pay-per-views. So, for example, United played Aberdeen on 6 o'clock a few Saturdays ago, and that was at 6 o'clock, and that was pay-per-view, as was Nigeria against Hibs when that was the corresponding Tuesday night.
Oh, was that on pay-per-view as well? Okay. The interesting point for me, Michael, is how the Hibs react from last week's shenanigans.
By the way, before you answer that, Reagan, right, I'm going to be a bit tongue-in-cheek here, right? But if we had the BT rights, I'm sure the BT Sport would get picked up that game tonight. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I think they would have. Dave, how long have we known about this VR going in? Because
April.
No, I mean that this game was going to be the first game because surely, right?
5 minutes ago.
No, because surely, if you're a broadcaster, right, you're Sky. Surely this would have been a marquee moment to broadcast.
Yeah, because it's
I'll just wait a look.
You know, this game will go down in history, if you know what I mean, Reagan.
I mean, of course, it might have only been 2 or 3 weeks, I think, right? But what I'm trying to say is, surely with the way that media works now, they could have sorted a team to go along there tonight.
Yeah, sorry, my phone's not quite clear. Notice was 2 days. Well, what time was that poster? 2 hours, 5 hours ago. 2 days, 5 hours ago. So Wednesday.
No, what I'm saying is, no. What I'm saying is,
I think it would get always been a flag, Reagan, because obviously Hearts and Celtic's at home.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Was this game not arranged for Friday for a while ago, Dave? It wasn't just.
It was arranged for Friday a while ago, yes. But PPV wise, it was confirmed 2 days ago.
No. What I'm saying is, surely Sky would have known that VR was coming in on this date.
Well, Sky's in Edinburgh anyway, Reagan, for the game tomorrow.
The VAR wasn't confirmed until a few weeks ago.
Yeah, my point is that surely if you're the head guy at Sky or whoever, you'd have went, right, this is a marquee opportunity. You don't care.
Oh, 100%.
And it goes back to the point that I've made, guys, before that. It just showed you how important Scottish football is to Sky.
Yeah.
Because I'm not having a go here, right? But see if it was coming into the Premiership tonight. Let's your answer.
Yeah,
that would have been on.
That would have been the first game on because I just think it's important for the Scottish Football League to showcase itself the best possible way. And see if we did that tonight, everybody would tune in because we're going. I think even guys from England are tuned in and went, right, well, let's see how VR goes in Scotland.
Well,
but then I think it's a big financial opportunity for Hibs. I know you want to mention Sky and all that, but I'm going to subsequently say it's a big opportunity for Hibs tonight because a lot of people want to tune their PPV from England, from afar, from Scotland to see how it goes.
Yeah, that's true.
But they could get easily done both, Dave.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at Dundee and Aberdeen. Was it last season, Dave? It was a Saturday night game at 5:30. So, I mean, there you go. 6 o'clock, right? So there you go. There's a chairman coming into this country from America and saying to himself, why is this game not on telly? So he took it upon himself to get an American broadcasting company, and yet we in Scotland with Sky Sports, and I bet you Sky Sports show you a Wolves Man City game or whatever at that time, but they knew that the Dundee Aberdeen game was on, and I think did they not sell it to ESPN?
Yeah, he did sell it to ESPN.
Aye. So anyway, I'm going to get off my high horse now and go back to the game in question, Hibs and St Johnstone. Dave, I saw Hibs last week at Parkhead. They were very disappointing, but on the same hand, they've got to credit Celtic for the performance that they did. But I mean, you must admit that Hibs came. They never packed the bus, but I always say on this show, Reagan, they actually come out and that made for a better game. Okay, Celtic ran over the top of them, but actually made a decent game because they came, well, maybe decent's the wrong word to use, but they came out a wee bit and I prefer Watson like that instead of people patting the bus for the whole game.
Yeah, it was a disappointing result, disappointing outcome, but fair play to Hibs because they didn't go and park the bus. I mean, scored a goal, so that was a positive in itself. But I think Lee Johnson will be demanding a reaction tonight. I mean, if they can go and get a win, it kind of papers over the cracks a little bit from a disappointing Saturday last weekend. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one.
And for St Johnstone, Reagan?
St Johnstone, they'll be just looking for a goal scorer because I think if you look at it last week, St Johnstone just look as if they lack that kind of potent threat up top. I would say Stevie May used to be the kind of go-to goal scorer, but he's not firing all cylinders. Obviously, they got Nicky Clark. I was about to say January. It's been a long year. They got Nicky Clark. They got Nicky Clark in the summer there. So, yep. I mean, it's going to be interesting. So, I think in terms of St Johnstone, they'll just be looking to go there and put on a good account for themselves because you don't want to go there and be embarrassed after last week as well. And then obviously they lost the week before to a late flurry of activity from Celtic.
There's a Mascot Duffy in the chat. I didn't think it was a season of goodwill yet that he agreed with the Hibs manager, but good on Graham for that. Once a one-hit wonder, you would say, but well done for that. Let's move on to speak about another big game tomorrow. We're going to speak about Graham's Hearts. They're at home to Celtic. The lunchtime kickoff at Tynecastle. So, Reagan, you saw Celtic last week. You saw them on Wednesday night. I was at the game in midweek as well. Celtic played well, but Tynecastle is always a difficult place to go for Celtic.
It is. I'm not particularly looking forward to it because they always raise their game. But I think Celtic should get the job done. They're in a bit of a good form now. But yeah, I think from Hearts' point of view, they need a response. They've been absolutely rotten the last few weeks. I watched them against Kilmarnock. I watched them last week, and I think Dave was there. But Aberdeen are going to come good under wee Jim. You know,
Wee Jim.
I mean,
is that we can fit in Reagan's pocket?
Yeah, wee Jim. I think they're going to do well under him. So I think if you're a Hearts fan, you'll be hoping that they give a good account of themselves. I think it could be 2-1 either way tomorrow.
Team news for Hearts is Andy Halliday, Michael Smith, and Josh Giannetti is back in the squad tomorrow. Dave, would you risk any of them or one of them to be in that squad in the team for tomorrow?
No, because there's a big game in Europe on Thursday now. Europe is a big priority for Hearts, but I'd argue that Thursday is a bigger game.
Thursday is a bigger game, but they can't go in there. Obviously, Graham was in the comments and I brought his comment up there, but I'd like to know Graham's thoughts on it because obviously, we speak about this all the time, Michael, but see when you lose, that can be a habit.
Yeah, it could be a bit of a rut to get out of.
Yep, so they want to go in there and they want to give a good account of themselves. So if they can do that, then they
Um,
go in there with confidence. So I
the
think
another interesting quote, and I don't know if Graham's still watching, probably throwing darts at the computer, I'm not sure. But Robbie Nielsen mentioned an interesting thing to get right. He was talking about the game tomorrow. And it says Nielsen says if you ask me for a game to play after a difficult result last week, it will be Celtic. Now that comment might come back to haunt me, Dave, because Celtic. Well, just because I say that, Dave's back.
No, it's okay. Sorry.
But yeah, that comment might come back to haunt Robin Nielsen, because what if Celtic runs over the top of Hearts tomorrow? A lot of Hearts fans will be slagging Robbie off for making that comment.
I think they need a credibility about their performance tomorrow, that's for sure. But also, they need to have a team that's capable of going and getting a result out of the game. A result being either a draw or a win. And when you look at it, I mean, I think they've got the credentials to do it. But I've seen firsthand how Hearts need a bit of confidence again. They're just simply aren't clicking so far this season. They look jaded in the midfield. They look all over the place defensively. Shanklin's on a lull just now. There's a lot of problems for Hearts just now.
Michael, what do you make of this comment from your old pal Graham?
See, that's the total opposite that Robin Nielsen said, because that was genuinely my point to Dave, because if Robin Nielsen is coming out and saying that we are kind of like low and it's been a difficult week, and if you ask me what team to play to get back on it again, it would be Hearts, it would be Celtic, but Graham's basically saying the opposite point there, because the team's low in confidence. And I agree with Graham, because I watched the game last week against Aberdeen. I thought Hearts were very poor for the whole game. I
think you're starting to sound like me there, Michael. You're starting to agree with Graham too much.
Yeah, I know, exactly. But I mean, I don't see where Robbie Nielsen's coming from the comments, because I'll look at it again. It says that if you ask me for a game to play after a difficult result last week, then it would be the game at the weekend. But I don't understand that.
I think the only thing for Robbie is he's trying to motivate the players that this is a big showpiece in Scottish football. Hearts against Celtic. They've always got a good record against Celtic. They beat them last season at home, first game of the season. John Suter, last minute winner against Big Angie's Celtic. So, yep, and there's Graham commenting again. I'll bring the comment up for you, Michael. Graham says, if you guys were Hearts fans, would you play Barry Mackay in big games?
Yep, that's what he's there for.
He hasn't shown up. What I would say to Graham on that is, Graham, thanks for watching, and it'll be good to have you back in a few weeks, mate. But what I will say to that Graham is that he's a big game player. And I know he's not showed it, but he scored against Celtic, that wonderful goal he scored in the 2-2 game when it was the end of the Ronnie Dyler era. So think if you're from that point of view, then
I think you can't afford to drop him, Reagan, and you can't afford to make him a sub either. He's got to start the game.
I think Graham's just come back and me a point for you, Michael.
Hearts have won 5 games and lost 21, and that's not acceptable. No, that's not. I mean, from Robbie Nielsen and telling us, But yeah, I think Graham's right. I think what Robbie Nielsen was trying to get is talk the game as you said, Regan, he's kind of talk the game up and get the fans on side, but it can work the other way. I mean, Celtic could have an off day, or they'll be on form like they did on Wednesday night against Motherwell. And that game could have been 8-0 easy, 9-0 easy as well. But I think Robbie Nielsen is trying to be optimistic, shall we say, about the game. But no, they've got a very big task tomorrow. Andy Postecoglou was asked today about VAR, Reagan, and I would advise anyone, including you, to go and watch this press conference, right? Because that was a very first question, and he started laughing.
Yeah, I mean, Michael, you told me about this on the phone, and then I went on to Facebook, and I did see him start laughing in a video. Somebody put the compilation together. And I found it quite funny. But
he said you guys are going over the top.
Yeah, and I think we are, but I think it's justified though, because it'll be good to see it in. But from Andy's point of view, he'll just be hoping that the game goes with no incident. I suppose I think it'll be actually a leveler for the weird teams, like Hearts, like Aberdeen's. Like maybe if Celtic or Rangers get a goal ruled out from offside because of the VAR, then that automatically helps you as well. And then you've got the possibility of red card incidents as well. The one question I would ask Graham, just if he's still watching, is does he think it's the end of terror for Robbie Nielsen? Because, like Graham said there, he's got 5 wins out of the last 21. I mean, how many? See that stat there, Michael? Right, I brought it back up for the simple fact that when does it become actually not tolerable when you sit there and go, right, as much as Robbie's goes into Europe is doing okay, but when do you start to go five wins in 21? It's not acceptable.
Well, I think that's right. See, just as well you put that back up, right, Reagan, right? And obviously we're not here to talk about English football, right? But English football managers in England get the sack for less.
Yep, and then Graham takes umbrage with my point that I have for a wee team. I was just meaning in the context of playing against the Old Firm, Graham. It's all right.
So the team news for Celtic is they never picked up any fresh injury worries from midweek game. It's just the same old passengers are out the team. Morris Jens was up doing a press conference for the players today, and he says, "I am all for VAR. I think it's a good game. I think it will be good for the game. It will make things more clearer." Well, well, wait for another 2 weeks, and then maybe you can comment more about that, because I don't know if it's going to make it more clearer in Scottish football. But there you go. So that's tomorrow's big game at Tynecastle. Looking forward to the game. Hearts against Celtic tomorrow as well. Robbie signed a new 3-year deal not that long ago, so he ain't going anywhere. Injuries haven't helped him, but we need to find a way of us being more capable of in front of goal. Yeah, you've got to take your chances. You know what they say, Reagan? If you don't buy a ticket, you can't win the raffle, or whatever they say. So that's a good point, Graham.
I thought you were going to say shy wings don't get sweeties. That's all.
Different show, mate.
That's also true as well, Michael. But I think the fact of the matter is that Hearts need to have a bit of respectability about them tomorrow. But I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Celtic. What about you, mate?
Okay. I will go for Graham won't like us tonight because I will go 3-0 Celtic tomorrow. So there you go. Moving on to the game at Ibrox then. Rangers against Livingston. How will Rangers bounce back? Because obviously they've won the last two games. I watched the game on Wednesday night and they actually get booed off the park, Reagan. And it's the first time I've heard the manager saying that we were very, very poor tonight in the game. Dundee had a few chances in the game. I don't know if you managed to see it, Reagan, but overall Rangers were a bit disappointing and they get booed off at the end of the game.
Michael, I was watching the Spurs against Man U, but I wish I watched that Rangers game because the Spurs game was awful. But I watched the last 5 minutes because I thought that this Spurs game's over. It's still 1-0 to Rangers. Let's turn over and see what could possibly happen. But yeah, in terms of Rangers, they'll just be hoping that they can bounce back. And I find it interesting that I think the biggest problem when you listen to radio stations, you put on the telly or you do whatever, you go on Twitter, you go on Facebook. Every Rangers fan you listen to the moment, Michael, doesn't know what Rangers team is the best team. And like Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, I don't think he even knows. He keeps chopping and changing every single time. You know, he's bringing on Matondo, he's bringing on Sakala, he's bringing on Tillman. There's no continuity to the selection.
Kovac was up today from the players. Again, they asked him about VAR. He said they are positives and negatives about VAR, but I don't think about it, to be honest. It's going to be a very difficult game, says Kovac as well. But yeah, just come back on that game on Wednesday night. That was the first time I've actually saw Dundee this season under the manager. And I was quite impressed with Dundee actually, because even though Rangers wasn't at their best, Dundee still had a job to do, and that was to go and win or else take the game to extra time and penalties. As I said, Dundee had a few attempts at goal, but Rangers won the game, Dave, but they weren't convincing. I don't know if you saw any of the game.
Now we'll cross over to the Dundee correspondent, Dave.
I was at Gayfield, so I didn't get an opportunity to really watch much of the game, to be honest with you. But I mean, they had a good go. They had a valiant effort, Dundee. But I watched a bit of growth, and let's be honest, it was windy as hell that day. So Dundee never really. I never got to see much of Dundee in the excitement, to be honest, perfectly honest with you. But they're a good side, and we'll create a lot of problems whenever they can. I mean, I see a lot of Dundee fans getting frustrated, and I don't understand why, because they're playing a side like Rangers. They weren't going to get defined in results such as last night, and I can't understand why. Harvey Kerr's been a legend at that club for a very, very long time. There was a lot of people wanting him about his performances of late, but I don't agree why. I mean, he has been poor lately, but I thought he had a good game on Wednesday. And it's Dundee fans been fickle, but alongside that, they give a very good effort, and that's a good springboard to take into their championship title pursuits.
Reagan, David Martindale said today that, by the way, he was asking for you as well. He sends his love. But he said that everybody's fit in the squad. From a Rangers point of view as well, Van Bronckhorst says we need to improve after Wednesday night. And the only bit of, positive news, but a bit of a blow maybe to Rangers fans is Connor Goldson won't be back until the new year. So basically, after the World Cup, that he'll be back. So that's a bit of a blow to Rangers.
I think that's more positive than negative, Michael, because I think Rangers fans were thinking it could be 6 months. So
Aye,
yeah,
but I mean, they still out for a bit of time because they've got, what is it, 6 games until the World Cup?
yep, I agree with that as well. I'm agreeing with you a lot tonight, Michael.
Yeah, no, I know what's up with you.
What's up, mate? It's
You
because
must
group.
have
It's good.
must have took a bump to the head. Dave, what do you think of Livingston chances? Do you think they could cause a wee upset tomorrow?
I think so. I mean, the game's at Ibrox, isn't it? Aye.
Yep.
Yeah, the game's at Ibrox. Aye. I mean, Rangers aren't exactly performing in all cylinders. They've got other responsibilities lying in wait. I mean, the league's one of their responsibilities, but will Livingston take the game to Rangers? It's going to be an interesting one. I mean, Livingston have picked up a little bit. They have been disappointed in comparison to other seasons, but with a club like Livingston, as Stevie Martindale's begrudging, they've not been getting a lot of big decisions lately. So that's something that they'll want to rectify as soon as possible. And if they can do that, they'll get a lot more positive returns in return. But yeah, they've got players coming back from injury. They're looking very, very organised. And Livingston do park the bus when they play the Glasgow teams, but it's not of the level of other teams. Livingston will park the bus, but then go and have a go. They're not just a team that will play a 4-6-0. Just to give an example, they are a good organised side.
So that's the game tomorrow. What about we'll move on now to speak about the game at Fir Park. Motherwell against Aberdeen. Your team, Dave. Aberdeen will go on with a lot of confidence to this game. But I didn't know that Motherwell got 3 wins out of 3 against Aberdeen already. So it's going to be a very difficult game for the Dons going to Fir Park. But in saying that, Motherwell's basically came off of 2 heavy defeat. Well, not so much Rangers, but on Wednesday night against Celtic, a heavy defeat.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting one, especially because Aberdeen have Jim Goodwin back in the dugout prior to his impending ban coming up. So it's going to be an interesting one. I mean, Aberdeen don't have a good record against Motherwell, as you rightly touched upon. I think the last time they beat was during COVID. It was January 2021, which, considering the amount of times Motherwell and Aberdeen have played each other, that seems an extremely long time, and a sign of how Aberdeen how Aberdeen did deteriorate in a short space of time. So I think it's going to be an interesting one. But just to see if Kevin Van Veen, of course, passes the fitness test and turn goes and plays, because he does very, very well when he plays Aberdeen. He's like Van der Stroy whenever he plays the Dons. And I think he'll have another big game, obviously, tomorrow, especially with all craving goals. And against Aberdeen's side, let's be honest, Logan Duke has stolen the headlines over the last week. He's been very, very good for Aberdeen. Scoring against Hearts on Sunday, by all accounts, a very, very good performance against Partick on Wednesday. And he's just a player that brings a lot of positivity in terms of the way Aberdeen forward. The fact that they take off Miovski at half time on Wednesday tells you everything you need to know about the fact that Duke is playing a very pivotal role for Aberdeen just now. And I think Wednesday was a lot of positives in the aspect of Miovski got brought off at half time, got 45 minutes into Christian Ramirez, and he looked very, very sharp considering the highlights I watched. And there's a lot going well with Aberdeen just now. Now, it's funny to say that after the Dundee disappointment, but at the same time as well, I've seen enough on Sunday to tell me it's convincing. I've seen enough to tell me that Aberdeen have learnt from that. Now, if they're going to beat 2 or 3-0 tomorrow, I'll be slap bang in the face in that comment. But at the same time, I think we're having a better understanding of everybody. And let's not forget, it'd be a very good victory to have from an Aberdeen point of view prior to go to Ibrox next Saturday.
Yeah, I was very impressed with Aberdeen last week, Dave. They actually controlled the whole 90 minutes, you would say.
Yeah. First half wise, it was 50-50.
The first kind of 10 minutes, you would say, but after that.
Well, let's be honest, the Cochrane chance as a talking point. If Alex Cochrane goes and scores that goal, we're speaking of a completely different game. Todd last week, he doesn't score that goal, which Graham will be discussing about. And then we obviously get to 0-0, and we did very well to get to 0-0 half time on Sunday there. And in the second half, Jim Goodwin changed it about slightly, and we got a lot of joy down in that left hand side with Duke. And then he took his goal very, very well. And obviously set up the second one, and yeah, very, very good display all round. And Vicente Bajir, we've been enjoying the sticky toffee pudding last Sunday evening, I'm presuming.
News coming out of Aberdeen that Aberdeen has offered the 20-year-old Conor Bannon a new deal. That the chairman Dave Cormack said it's all going to him if he wants to see a future at Aberdeen. But he's still got 2 years left on this deal, Dave. But that would be a bit of a bonus if Conor signs for the Dons.
Yeah, I seen it firsthand last week. I mean, we've not had a lot of opportunities to see Conor this season because of his injuries, but I seen it firsthand last weekend about how pivotal a role he plays in this Aberdeen side for a player so young. I mean, he's also got a maturity about him as well. I watched his Red TV interview after the game on Sunday, and he speaks with such a maturity for somebody so young, and I think that bodes well for the future. I mean, Dave Cormack mentioned something in the papers today, actually, alluded to Conor Bannon, because obviously this conversation about new contact kind of spurned up in the air. And it was alluding to Calvin Ramsey and Lewis Ferguson. I actually agree with Dave Cormack in the aspect that the timing was right for both of those players to leave the club, because Calvin Ramsey maybe had a bit more development in him, but he's playing for the Liverpool under-21s. And is pushing it into the Liverpool first team. He scored on Tuesday night for Liverpool against Accrington Stanley in the Papa John's Trophy. And Lewis Ferguson's doing very, very well in Italy just now. Now, you get the feeling from the outside looking in that if both of those players stayed and they became unsettled because they had a good start to the season, whatever have you, they could have been a very unhappy dressing room. So, you can understand where Dave Cormack's coming from in that regard. I mean, you stadium chat, don't even get me started on that, but at the same time, there's a lot going right with Aberdeen just now. The next big challenge is further to be the next Conor Bannon, further to be the next Calvin Ramsey, further to be the next Lewis Ferguson, get more academy players in the first team, because it can only bode well for the Aberdeen Youth Academy.
As for Motherwell, do you see any positive from them going into the game tomorrow? I thought they put up a bit of a fight against Rangers last week, but Wednesday night, Celtic Goose ran over the top of them.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I'm looking forward to seeing how Motherwell actually approach this game and all that, because they're playing a lot better this season than they did under Graham Alexander, but at the same time as well, I still think they've got a lot of improvements to make. I mean, they're going toe-to-toe with sides such as Celtic and Rangers, and that's all fine and well, excluding Wednesday, I may add, but they went to Parkhead and went toe-to-toe with Celtic for large stages on that game. I think let's not forget here, Motherwell went up to Dingwall on Tuesday night a couple of weeks ago and brushed 5 against County.
Yeah. Five
against County. And that's what they're good at. But at the same time as well, are they consistent enough to be merited in a top 6 position? That's the big question as far as Stevie Hamill's concerned.
Well, it wasn't Stevie Hamill, it was up to date. It was Brian Kerr, the assistant manager from Motherwell. Kerr, Dave knows him well. He says that we need to get back to winning ways after the last year's results. It puts us on a level playing field. What it was meaning by that was put us on a level playing field as of tomorrow, because the last 2 games, you know yourself, Dave, when you're playing against the Glasgow top 2 teams, you're going up a level or 2 levels.
The reason why I said Kerzo is because I think he's got a sandwich bar at East Kilbride still.
Ah, right. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Well then. I wonder if it. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, I think tomorrow's a good indication to see where Motherwell are at, because Motherwell weren't going to get defined on games against Celtic and Rangers, and they played both within the space of 3-4 days. And I think if they can go to Aberdeen and go toe-to-toe with them and indeed and try and get something out of the game, I think it would bode well for Motherwell moving forward. And it'd be a good indication to see where they're going to be at for the rest of the season, because there's a lot going right in Motherwell, but they just need to tidy up a little bit.
Reagan, let's move on to speak about Kilmarnock and Ross County. This game has been overshadowed a wee bit by Kyle Lafferty, and a lot of people forget that Kilmarnock is in the first semi-final since lifting the cup in 10 years. But a lot of people, but all the headlines has been about Kyle Lafferty's ban after he made a comment back home to one of the fans in Northern Ireland. I don't really want to go into it in too much detail, but was that a right ban for you? 10 games?
It was, but they need to be more do it more often for these things. They can't just do it for one and then not do it again. But yeah, I think it was the right call. But like you said, Michael, we'll move on to tomorrow's game. I think
Exactly.
I think it'll be interesting. I think obviously Derek McInnes' side into the first semi in a while.
Yeah, 10 years.
10 years. I mean,
well, 10 years since his last Gigler Cup, so yeah.
So I think it's great. I think Rory Hamilton famously called Derek McInnes on the telly the semi-final specialist. So that's what that's what I'll call him as well, because he's done really well with the team there. I mean, he got Aberdeen into semi-finals as well, so he's got a big chance. But I think if you're Celtic and Postecoglou, I think you'd rather play Kilmarnock than Aberdeen, because Kilmarnock sit back a bit often, Michael. Sorry, I'm just going to say, in terms of Kilmarnock, do you guys think they'll be looking higher up now that everybody will be fighting for their places for this semi-final?
I think for me, they might want to start winning games in the league. I think the league, as Dave always says, the league's more important. I know that they've got a semi-final, but that's not until the new year. And they've got 6 games to go for the World Cup, so they want to start picking up points. And I don't mean points as in, I mean points as in full points. David, I don't know how you feel about that.
I mean, the semi-final's a long time away. It's not till January. I mean, the fact that Kyle Lafferty, first and foremost, has got a 10-match ban that takes him up to that Premier Sports Cup semi-final.
Yeah, that's his first game back.
Pardon me, it's called the Via Play semi-final.
The Via Play?
Yeah.
Have you not heard of these?
Premier Sports are no more, Michael. They've been bought over by Vid Play. Yep.
Oh, right, okay. I never knew. When did this happen?
Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's called the Via Play. It'll be the Via Play Sports Cup semi-final.
Oh, imagine saying that way. Imagine saying that way. Grinking you. No, that I'm vouching for people to drink, but sorry, Dave.
Yeah, no, it's going to be an interesting one, and I'm looking forward to see how it all entails and how it all progresses on that point of view. But as for tomorrow, they've got a very winnable game against Ross County. Kilmarnock are a very good side when they're at home. I mean, they're probably a lot better at home than they are away from home. And also, Ross County will have such a considerable amount of distance to go and travel. It's going to be a tough one for the Highlanders. And Ross County have been playing reasonably well of late, but I mean, they just haven't had the rubber game maybe we had last year. As Kilmarnock are getting a lot of big results lately. And I think they're turning a corner under Derek McInnes. He's maybe not got the best squad in the top 6, so he's maybe not got the best squad in terms of pushing, replicating what he achieved at Aberdeen. But Derek McInnes has got a good ground in there. He's got a good squad to go work with, and he'll push his Killie players to the limit.
Dave, speak to me about Daniel Armstrong. What a player he's been so far.
Oh, brilliant. I mean, McInnes made that point on Tuesday, didn't he? I mean, it could have been easy for Deutsch or Lafferty to go and score that second goal, but it wasn't. It was Danny Armstrong, 5'6" or whatever he is, banging it into that corner. And fantastic finish from Danny Armstrong. And he's shown that. He was a really good player with Raith Rovers as well. He got hampered by injuries last season, and he's kicked on, and he's turned into a very influential player for Derek McInnes.
I'm starting to take offence, Dave, that you're saying he can't do much because he's 5'6". You know, everybody that's 5'6", just pray for life. But no, obviously you know your football, Dave. Was Daniel Armstrong at Kilmarnock last season, or did they buy him?
He basically became a free agent after his contract was released at Raith Rovers. Signed for Kilmarnock. He picked up an injury. Injury hampered the season. In all fairness, he came back a stronger player, and he's turning into a really strong player for McInnes this season.
So sorry, I was just going to follow up the point. So was that Derek McInnes that basically seen him last season for Raith Rovers then?
No, he signed before that.
What about obviously Kilmarnock was in that semi-final on Tuesday night. They played Dundee United. Obviously, we'll come back to speak about United, Dave, in a minute. But I was quite impressed with Kilmarnock. Actually, I thought it was quite a decent game.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, very good performance from Kilmarnock. I mean, they got the perfect start they needed in the game through that penalty, which I'll reiterate, I don't think it is a penalty, but so be it. Kilmarnock, they tucked it away, very good penalty. And then second goal, a very good goal. I mean, full credit to Kilmarnock as well, because Dundee reacted quickly after Kilmarnock taking the lead. But it was always going to be a 50-50 game. Kilmarnock had a bit more streetwise about them in order to get the job done, and very good victory for Killy in the semi-finals. And what I will say is, irrespective of what happens now, what a tremendous moment for Killy, because I really what Derek McInnes had at Aberdeen. They never had a semi-final or been in the latter stage of the cup competitions for such a long time. That's going to be a brilliant day in January. And just to clarify, there's going to be no sober January in Kilmarnock, as there never will be in Aberdeen the day after either.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing for Kilmarnock is that they've obviously got the Kilmarnock pie to be proud of, because it's the best pie in Britain. But obviously they've got the best. They've now got a team to be proud of. They've got in the semi-final.
I was actually laughing the other night because I don't know if you guys saw it, but I think it was after the game. The Foxy was getting interviewed, and behind him was the Kilmarnock advertising, and I can't believe Kilmarnock Pie has got their own website. Have you noticed that?
I did notice that.
Yeah. Just in case you're wondering, it's KilmarnockPie.co.uk. Other pies are available. Let's move on now. So, what about Ross County, Reagan?
I think they're interesting because they play well. They just can't seem to get. They can't seem to get that win of the last time out. They drew 1-1 with Dundee United. They took the lead, and they done my cooking, so I wasn't happy. But yeah, I think for Ross County, whoa, what happened there, Dave? Some happened there. Anyway, I think Dave's got a squeaky chair there. But yeah, I mean, in terms of Ross County, I mean they're playing well. They just can't seem to put the ball in the back of the net and finish it off. But I think tomorrow, this could be the turning point of the season, Michael. I'm going to say it. I think they could win.
Okay, let's go on to speak about the last game of the weekend. Tomorrow in Paisley, St Mirren against Dundee United, Dave. I mean, Dundee United had a brilliant result against Aberdeen the other week, but disappointing result in midweek against Camargue. A decent enough performance, you would say they put in, but tomorrow a difficult away game at St Mirren.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to make of Ross County, to be honest, because I mean, they weren't brilliant but got a point, and that's not a bad result up there if you think about it in all fairness. But whilst they were a little bit disappointed on Tuesday, I think tomorrow will give us a big indication to see where Dundee United are at. I read somewhere that Charlie Mulgrew is injured just now, which I find interesting.
I wondered that because he wasn't in the squad on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I read something in the paper today that he's injured just now, so that's a big blow to Dundee United.
Yeah.
That have they got the players to go win the game 100%? Do they have the credentials at this precise moment in time? That's the big question for me, because St Mirren are a lot better. St Mirren are a lot better for me when it comes to their familiarity and their togetherness. Everything you attach with a good side, and that's going to be an interesting one to see how Dundee United going to approach it tomorrow. They've got a good record in Paisley before, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they can go and get over that line or how they go and approach it. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one.
Reagan, we were talking about Gareth McInnes coming in and getting a bounce off a Camargue. Another manager actually got a bounce off the team at Stephen Robertson, because when they came in at first, Gibby Buggy was saying, well, is this job too difficult for him? But he's actually picked up decent points, and you saw them against the other week against Celtic, and you can see the point that Celtic never played well. It doesn't matter. Mirren got a job to do. They went out to win the game, got 3 points, and I've been very impressed with St Mirren. Well, I've not saw them live apart from the Celtic game and the Rangers game as well, but apart from that, I've not saw them. But no, St Mirren, what do you think of them tomorrow?
I watched them last week. I think Camargue should have won that game. I watched the full 9 minutes. I think Camargue should have won that game overall. They're a bit of a strange team. They're a bit up and down, Michael. You know, one day they're great, next time they're rubbish. So I think tomorrow, who did we say? St Mirren against Dundee United.
Dundee United, yeah.
I'm going to say Dundee United turn the corner and they win tomorrow. I can't believe that Michael called Foxy there. I'm just starting to think they're friends now or something. Foxy, yeah.
Me and Mr. Fox. I'll be seeing them on the 5th of November. Sorry, that was a kind of cheap joke. Just because I'm going on to pantomime this year. No, I'm not actually.
You're what they call Michael a pantomime villain.
Ugly Siska. Anyway, Dave, what do you think the score will be tomorrow?
I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
Okay, so that's us finished. We are.
Sorry, I'm going to go 2-0 Dundee United.
Oh, 2-0. Keep your comments coming in. We're on Facebook and YouTube. We're on till 7 o'clock. Don't forget, we'll be back on Sunday for the review of the weekend, and we're on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for the midweek action, European football. Celtic Tuesday, Rangers Wednesday, and Hearts on Thursday, and of course we'll be back on Friday as well. So, Reagan, you mentioned an interesting thing to me yesterday about Holland was the first country to ban 3G football parks.
Yeah, that'll be interesting, Michael. I mean, I know that Gio was saying that we've finally got VAR, but it's interesting that Holland was one of the first ones to bring in the artificial surfaces, and now they're taking it away. So I think it's something we should look into, Dave, because you look at and this is no disrespect to David Martindale. I'm sorry, but I think it makes a level playing field when you go to Livingston, because I think that's why Livingston win so much at home, because they're so used to playing on it. Whoa! What? I just got a big noise in my ear there. I don't. Yeah, I mean they're so used to playing in it, and it's quite interesting because I think that if you are the Scottish Football League, I think you'll be hoping that we should be following suit, because I personally don't like it. I don't know what Dave thinks.
Yeah, sorry, neither do I. I can understand the positives behind it financially, but this is not a lot good about it now.
What do you make of Holland doing it, Dave? Because obviously they were the entrepreneurs at the start. They were the ones that first brought it in, and now they're taking it away.
It's a good question. I mean, when you look at Holland, I mean, they were good for it to start with, but that was probably to boost young player development more than anything else. But I don't think they're seeing the benefits of that. And in terms of Scotland, we need to be making sure we kind of try and get away from that. Ever since we've gone to the synthetic or 4G methods, we seem to become a lot more softer. It seems to be more about our technical play rather than the old-fashioned tack on that used to be involved in our game. So, yeah, it's an interesting one.
Dave, the big thing for me is how perceptions go, because the perception was that we brought in the 4G, right? The perception was not the 4G. We're not on an iPhone. 3G, sorry. When you brought on 3G, the whole thing was, well, we're following Holland, and Holland do it the good way. Well, why couldn't we just go our own way? It seems like we need to follow other countries. Why can't we not just be Scotland or the UK and go, we're going to do this way, instead of going, well, the Dutch are doing it, so let's follow them. We need to have a bit more saying what we're doing. You know, why should we be like the kind of secondary? Because
Well,
the-
Kilmarnock and Honestly was more a financial thing, though, in all honesty.
yeah, I know it's a financial
So
thing, but
was Glenfermin as well, Dave. Remember they used to hire out for five-a-side teams and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the biggest issue is that you've got so many benefits for Scottish clubs. But what I'm trying to say is the perception will now be that we'll get rid of it because Holland get rid of it. And I'm just saying, why can we not just say, stand up for ourselves and go, but that's coming from a guy that can't stand up. But why can we just stand up for ourselves and say, right, well, we need to be honest and say, maybe we should get rid of it, because for the overall product of the game, it's horrible to watch, especially if you're watching it on Sky. You're sitting there going, "This is awful." And at the start of the season, first game of the season was Rangers away at Livingston. Then it was then it was Kilmarnock against Celtic. That's your first two games of the season on Sky, and the two artificial pitches. And I'm not just saying this, but if you're a Australian watching on BN Sports, or you're an English guy watching down south in Sky, it's not going to draw you into the product watching.
No,
You're going to be like,
that's a good point.
that's
Yeah.
awful to watch.
Yeah, I mean, before Dave comes in, that's a good point there, Reagan, you've made, right? Because you watch in the English game, and I don't watch the Championship or that, right? But I bet they haven't got any artificial parks in
No.
England, you know. But up here, it's like, well, Livingston, Kilmarnock, and who else is artificial parks, you know.
I don't even think they've got it in the fourth tier. I think it's just the lower down. These I think I don't think in Championship, League One, League Two, or even the Conference League. You know, and I'm thinking to myself, surely as a product we should say, right, that this is no good in the eye. Holland's are the one who brought it in. These were the kind of, what was it we called it at the time? These were the showpiece. They were the ones that were showing it all off to us and going, right, this could save you money. This it's just as good. With all the Dutch players going, look how good we're doing here. But at the end of the day, Holland was the entrepreneur, and now they're taking that away. So we should go, right. Well, as much as it should, and the biggest annoyance for me is we have waited for them to do it, because there's no way in hell that we're going to go, right, we're going to stay away. So we're just doing it because Holland are doing it. And I don't,
It's a bit like VAR, Reagan.
it is, and plastic pitches should have been away a long time ago. I mean, you even go down to like junior level, like Talbot, Darvo. You know, a club of Darvo. I know they're backed by a lot of money, and fair play to the guys that do a fantastic job there. But these guys have got brilliant pitches. Motherwell have got brilliant pitches. I'm sure if you asked Alan Burrows, right, I'm sure if you said to him, what would you rather? More fans come through the door and artificial pitches? He would say yes, please. But at the end of the day, he's put the money in, and he's went, right, we're going to invest in a proper good pitch. How bad was Motherwell about 10 years ago?
Well,
It was like a midfield, Michael. But see,
sorry, Reagan, I was actually going to say that to you. But the other week, like Wednesday night, what a difference it was. It was like a football park.
It was like a bowling green.
Yep.
And I think that makes a whole difference. I mean, I was at Glasgow United a few weeks ago, and they're in the Conference B of the juniors. Their pals looking great. You're trying to tell me a club that's at Greenfield Park can look a lot better than some of the clubs in the Premiership? No way. You just need to. It's the attitude, the fact that a big boy of the big nations like England, Germany, Holland, they're seen as the kind of big boys of international. The fact that big boys now removed artificial pitches, I think it'll put us in motion to go, right, we need to follow suit. And I think Scotland needs to wake up, because at the end of the day, why should we not have this in place as well? And I get the fact that David Martindale said it'll save money, but at the end of the day, I remember a couple of years ago when Falkirk, Queen's Park, Ayr, they guys wouldn't be allowed the top flight if you didn't have a stadium fit for purpose. So at the end of the day, if you've not got a pitch for purpose, then you should not be allowed in.
No,
that should be a rule. You know, if anybody's got any comments about that, but that's what I think personally.
It spoils the game a wee bit, Dave. I don't know about you.
Yeah, there's been plenty of interruptions because of it, and it's not ideal. I mean, as I say, I'm looking forward to trying to see how it all entails and how we can all grow from it. It's going to be an interesting one. By the way, sorry for not really paying attention. I was busy trying to do my research on Hamilton. Forgot everyone gets Hamilton tomorrow. I'm busy trying to do my homework on Hamilton and listening to you guys as well. So I apologise for that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this weekend goes, just to see how things evolve in this regard.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, we're talking about the artificial pitches and the fact that Holland are getting rid of them. Now, what I'm saying is, I think Scotland will now follow suit, right? Now, why should it take for Holland to get rid of them for us to go, we're going to get rid of it? What we're basically saying is, we're too scared to do it in case it makes a reaction, or why is it taking us this to?
Well, you see it all the time where Hamilton wants to come out of synthetic pitches, and Hamilton's is dog meat. Williamson's is okay, Kilmarnock's is okay, but they're nothing really exciting. It's more to help what they've got in terms of how it can help them financially and all that, because they get a lot of requests such as like boys club teams and all that, but I mean, they should really have all Scottish Premiership games on
like I
grass
said,
pitches.
but
I
I said to
think I might be horribly wrong here. I think I might be wrong here. I think the family to put ahead. I think are the only teams in League One that don't play on synthetic surfaces.
yeah, Dave, the point I made to Michael there was the fact that, see, 10 years ago, you weren't allowed to have a stadium that was fit for purpose. So, see if Kamala don't want to be in the Premiership where a grass pitch. Sodom, I'm sorry. We need to move on as a society, and the fact that Holland are doing it, I think we should follow suit. If Livingston don't want to be in it because they think it will save them money, then go to the Championship then, because they did the thing to Falkirk a few years ago. Well, said the Falkirk, you're not getting in the Premiership because your stadium's not up to standard.
Sorry, mate, I was on mute there. Yeah, no, I totally agree.
And another thing I wanted to mention, Michael, was I don't know if you've seen this week. What would you make of the women's football? Because I know that it's brilliant that Rangers and Celtic and Glasgow City are so far ahead, but they're beating these teams 6-0 every single week. It can't be good for the rest of the league.
I remember the English manager. I can't remember her name, but I think she made a comment about that during the Euro.
Her name is Simona Wiegman. She's
Swedish.
Is she Dutch?
But I'm sure she mentioned that during the Women's Euros. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what you could do about that, Reagan. To be quite honest with you, I don't know if it's a levels or whatever. It's a difficult one, but
I mean, of course, it's great to see Glasgow City and Rangers and everybody and Celtic won every one of their games, but it's getting to a stage where these guys are not even scoring goals. They're getting beat 6-0, 5-0, 4-0 every single game they're playing. That can't be good for their mental attitude or even
confidence.
I don't know what you think, Dave, from being the proper journalist on the panel, because me and Michael just like to pretend sometimes. No, I'm only kidding.
Yeah. I guess it's an interesting one. It's interesting in that regard. But yeah, that's the formalities and the problems we have in Scottish football, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying, Dave. I mean, there's not a lot you can do about that.
Michael, do you think they'll maybe in the future try and split some of the league?
I don't see why they could, Reagan.
I just mean in terms of competitiveness, because I'm just thinking of these teams that are playing it. Like if you're a Motherwell, for example, right, and you're trying to develop your team. Of course, there needs to be an end. Of course, Motherwell and the men's game don't do so well, but at least once in a blue moon they can do well in the cup competitions. But what I'm saying is that Celtic, Rangers, and Glasgow City are not even catching a goal. I think Fran Alonso was saying that this is Celtic's best ever start to a season. They're scoring so many goals that they're 10 points. They're 10 goals ahead of the rest of the field, and they've not even let one goal in this season after 10 games.
I think as well that it goes back to what we were talking about a few months in the show when bag Molly McGonagall on some women's in sport. And I ask her the question, something similar to what you did, Regan. And I think it's come down to it would help that if the women's game was full time.
Yeah, definitely would, because you look at some of the players that they're playing to high standard, but you've got teams like Partick Thistle, even Dundee United that played Celtic the other day, but they get. I think Dundee United got beat 4 or 5-0 by Celtic. So, as much as they can say, like Fran Alonso said, they set up well and stuff like that, but if if 5-0 is becoming a good score to get beat by, it's not good. It's not a great mentality for these girls, and I just hope it doesn't damage them in the long term.
No, exactly. But I mean, it's very good to, and it goes back to what we were saying, Reagan, about it's not a healthy competition if teams are getting beat 8-0, 9-0 or whatever. But I mean, think of the I would need to show more women's football on the TV to get more people in. Because I mean, we were talking about last week on the show about disability sport and all that. But if people see women's sport on the TV, women's football, women's rugby that we're going to go on to speak about in a minute, then people will be inspired to get into the sports.
Yeah, I think they definitely would, and I think it's great what they're trying to do. My overall point was, I'm just a bit concerned that about the mentality, because if you're not part of these squads, it must be a big worry that all the Glasgow City, the Rangers are so far ahead. But I suppose the good thing for these people is that they get to challenge yourself against these people. Like Rangers and Celtic have played in Champions League, so it's a good opportunity. So you can it swings and roundabouts, as you say, Michael.
I'm just seeing on Twitter there, Reagan, Mr. Easkin, the voice of Tynecastle.
Whoa! Whoa!
There's a bit of noise coming from Dave, I think. Yeah.
Whoa!
Gives a shout out to Mr. Easton, the voice of Tynecastle. This is Graham Easton, and he's actually showing you the VAR TV monitor. So, if any Hearts or Celtic fans were doubting about a VR's going to show up tomorrow at Tynecastle, don't worry, the TV screen is at Tynecastle. So there you go. So we'll see if it gets used tomorrow during the Sky game. But yeah, I mean, back to what you were saying there, Reagan, about the women's sport. I mean, but I think it's, as I say, I think it's back to, there's not a lot you can do about it. I know what you're saying about teams getting beat 5-0, 6-0, even 8-0 some weeks, and that's not a level playing field. But I mean, and I think I can argue the point that if the game was a bit more professional, full time, then I don't think they would have that every week.
No, I suppose the big benefit might go in that about ladies sport we're talking about there, and if you go back to boccia, this week was the British Championships, and it was the actual first all-female final.
Oh, right, yeah.
So, in sports like that, things are coming together, and they're getting more females involved. So,
Yeah.
remember Kaylee Hagel that used to do swimming? She's now classification BC2. She was in the BC2 final against the world number 2 Claire Taggart last week. She got beat 9-2, but I think it's just great to see women's sport doing so well, and the fact that it was the first all-female final. I think it's great to see that sports are progressing.
Yeah, no, definitely. The last 2 weeks on the show, Reagan on Dave, we were talking about the Women's World Cup rugby, and Scotland. Scotland play their final game tomorrow against New Zealand. Now it's a must-win game for Scotland.
But Michael,
but
how did they get on last week? Remember we were saying it was it was Australia.
Yeah, it's not looking too good for Scotland because they've got to win tomorrow to qualify. But so far they've lost against Wales and Australia.
What was the score last week, Michael?
It was a very close game. It was 18-17. So I mean, even though they're getting beat, they're still competing.
I think that's a great score, actually. I thought, well, I know the men are definitely a good rugby team, Dave. So I think for the women to get only 1 point up against a quality outfit in Australia, then that's a positive we can take for the ladies.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be positive. There's no doubt about it. I mean, women's rugby is something that's slowly evolving. It's not like the women's game in football. It's sort of that. It took a while to grow, and we're now seeing the true growth, the everything growing together, which is a major positive in that regard. So, I think in terms of women's rugby, I think if Scotland go and get a positive result tomorrow, I think it takes a lot of pride in Scott, how we're getting on as a nation in terms of rugby, because what a week. Let's not forget here, gentlemen, what a week we've had in terms of Scottish sport. We've had Scottish cricket beating West Indies on Monday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What a result that was.
Unbelievable. How are we getting on in the Cricket World Cup?
I think did we not get beat today, Dave?
I didn't check today, but I know they won on Monday because I was at St Andrews interviewing Liam Fox and Arnold Zoom, and it came up in the BBC screen that Scotland had beaten West Indies, and the guys that were in the CAD team with myself and the press interviewing Liam, we were all buzzing.
Oh, good. I know that's Graham's favourite sport now, cricket, since his little son plays it, so he'll be on next week with our cricket correspondent, Graham.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you guys, but I've just saw Scotland get knocked out of the
no,
I think it's the T20 cricket. They get knocked out. I'm just looking to see
we won last week.
Who beat us.
We know that a league table, no, a group stage, no. Is it straight knockout?
Gambia. I'm just rigging this one, and stuff. But yeah, I mean, going back to your point, Regan, about women's rugby. So Scotland's got a win tomorrow, right, for any hope of qualifying for the next ring. But I'm not holding out much hope.
Have we still got a chance, Michael?
Yeah, but I'm not holding out much hope, Regan, right, because we're playing New Zealand, and New Zealand have won all 3 previous meetings.
No chance. Sorry, ladies.
That we played. So I'm afraid to say it's back on the plane and back home, but it's a big, as Dave was saying, it's a big achievement for them to get to the World Cup.
I mean, for the sport like rugby to be on the map in Scotland, or even in general, is good, because, like Dave said, it's not grown as much as for football or tennis so far. So if they can keep growing it, then that's only to be good for the game.
I'm jumping a bit about from sport to sport, but Scotland get beat from Ireland in the T20 cricket, and it was the World Cup.
Top of the morning to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, waiting for Mrs. Brown to come in here any minute. So that is I think Scotland play tomorrow morning at 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. So and also
Michael will be up live on the locker room.
Yeah,
To
we
let you
will.
know.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, but we will. Good luck to you. Just finishing up now. Just a couple other sports news to give you. I can't believe that when you play ice hockey, right? You play 2 games in the one weekend. How? I mean, imagine telling football players, no, you're playing half an hour after this game. Come on now, get your pie down. You're going out for a warm up again. They're playing the Cardiff Devils. I must say. Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at Blairhead. So if you're going
How the
along
devil
there,
are you, Michael?
yeah, exactly.
How the
Yeah,
devil are you? Hi.
I
But
was waiting for that. And if you want tickets for that, you can go onto the website, the Glasgow Clan website, and you can get them there. And then on Sunday, they are away to Coventry. So there you go. And then we go from there to the old basketball, and there's a big.
Michael loves his balls this week. We've got rugby, we've got cricket, we've got basketball, we've got bocce, we've got so much to talk about, guys.
Yeah, a lot of balls. And they haven't got a game until the 23rd, so that is Sunday, I think. Yeah, Sunday. They play against Leicester Rhinos. And that is a 5 o'clock kickoff. Well, not kickoff, I think it's a tip off, you call it, at the Emirates Arena. And that is part of the Brickies Basketball League. So there you go. So plenty of sport. That's for King Reagan.
Is that on Sunday?
That's on Sunday, yeah.
I may pop along.
Ball along to that one if you want. Score a couple of baskets.
Michael, but yep, and also Andy Murray is qualified for the Paris Masters.
Yeah, I saw that, and then I saw a bit of wait till we get this up now. Dan Evans is out of the tennis tournament. I have lost the plot.
It's not like you, Michael, to lose the plots.
Exactly, yeah. What were we talking about there? Yeah, I can't. Oh yeah, tennis. We were talking about tennis. Yeah, Dan Evans. Yeah, what were you saying?
I was just saying that Andy Murray has got a spot at the Paris Masters.
Yeah, that's right. And I find it now, Reagan, Cameron Norrie is through to the Stockholm quarterfinals. So that's good. That's good to see another Scots boy going through to the quarterfinals.
Yep, Michael, some breaking news from the world of international football. Northern Ireland have just sacked their manager, Ian Barraclough, who was at Motherwell a while ago.
Do you think he'll come back, Dave?
Good question. I don't think he'll come back to Scottish football. I mean, I can see Ian Barraclough taking a bit of time out now. I mean, Ian Barraclough, well, let's be honest, he's a saviour for Motherwell in the aspect he got them saved in the playoff against Rangers in the final day of the season. But in terms of Barraclough, he didn't do well for international either.
No,
Michael, I was actually just waiting to give you some team news for tonight.
Oh yeah,
and,
Dave's got the team.
Yep. For Hibs tonight, it's David Marshall, Rocky Bashiri, Ryan Portis, Paul Hanlon, Chris Cannon, Joe Newell, Josh Campbell, Kel McGuinness, Cabrera, Boyle, and Kuvarich. The bench for Hibs, Schofield, Kenny, J.R. Stevens, Henderson, Mitchell, McCartney, Yuan, and Fish. This Johnson lineup as follows. I'll let you speak and then I'll be back in just 1 minute.
Okay, cool. What do you make of that lineup for Hibs, Reagan?
Yeah, it's interesting. I expected that team really, but yeah, I hope Lee Johnson has got a better clubber than he did last week. Loads of different. It's if he was going a night out to Glasgow's West End after his jacket and all that, with his shirt and tie on.
Well, I don't know about you, but I thought he looked like a bit of a polar bear. But anyway, Dave.
Michael, I just wanted to touch on Northern Ireland for a second. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's been talk about now the fact that it might be Neil Lennon after his sacking, and Nicosia, we spoke about that last week. Obviously, Neil Lennon gets sacked.
That's a good shout, yeah.
And I know Dave was going to come back in. I don't know if he's.
Yep, I was waiting for you guys to finish. St Johnstone are Matthews, Brown, Constein, Mitchell, Gordon, Montgomery, Halberg, McGowan, Wright, McLennan, and Clark. The bench for St Saints is Parish, Crawford, Gallagher, Phillips, Kuchavi, Witherspoon, May, Bear, and Murphy.
And who is the all-important ref tonight?
Good question.
All right, okay, that's sorry. Yeah,
I'll tell you the
Yeah,
referee is.
leave it with.
The referee is Kevin Clancy.
Reagan, do you think the just touching upon that game very quickly because we spoke about it early on? Do you think that the St Johnstone fans will make the effort to go up because the tickets are a fiver and it's only up the road?
Yeah,
Down the road.
I think they will, Michael, but personally, it's absolutely freezing. So if they want to be absolutely freezing, enjoy the night, fair play to them. I'll be watching it with a cup of tea and a few biscuits. But no, I think
Reagan, that's
think
a good point that you've made about Neil Lennon.
It is, Michael. It's not for me a good point with Neil Lennon, but yep, I think Neil Lennon could be the possible appointment for Northern Ireland. I mean, he did well at Nicosia. I don't know why he was sacked. He got 2 bad results against Man U, but
do we sack managers too early?
I think we do, Michael. Aye.
Yeah. And I'm talking about Scottish football as well. I mean, you don't see it as much up here, but you see more of it in England.
You do, but we're starting to get that culture. Look at, try to give an example, but I'm trying to get an example and I can't even think of one. But you know what I mean, Michael. We're getting in that culture where, like, you go onto Twitter and somebody gets Jack Ross, for example. I mean, Jack Ross is a good manager, but his reputation kind of died after that. Easy that man.
I think that score, but it didn't help him much, and the Celtic one as well. I mean, I don't know about you, Dave, but I think if Dundee United ran Alkmaar close but still get beat, and they ran Celtic close and still get beat, I don't think we would be talking about Fox at United.
Yeah,
Dave's making a lot of sense there.
The first time he made sense on aye.
I know. Fox would still beat United, but under Jack Ross. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if they were a lot better, the Alkmaar show, Jack Ross, if it wasn't for the 9 for Celtic, that Celtic burst United with, and the 7 that Alkmaar gave United with, we wouldn't even be speaking about Liam Fox being the number 1 manager. We'd be speaking about Fox being the number 2 behind Jack Ross and performing in a really good relationship. But it did appear to be the case. And Tony Arscar's under a lot of pressure now. He's under a lot of pressure for a few things. For the fact that Liam Fox, a young manager, is appointed in at Tannadice. And secondly, as well, he's also under pressure after the Lewis Nielsen fiasco, which meant Dundee United got hee-haw in return for Lewis Nielsen going to Tynecastle.
Yeah. The other thing as well, Dave, right, is when we're just talking about that, right? Okay, say that Dundee United kind of like the skull went out of Europe, right? And Celtic beat them, as I say, 9, or 8. Do you think that would make any difference?
It's hard to gauge. I think it's hard to gauge because Alkmaar was a obliteration. It was I thought at the time it was going to be one-off. I didn't think Dundee were going to reach Cam Courts levels. I didn't think. I thought it was going to be a one-off in terms of United. We're going to get some sort of response. But Charlie Mulgrew and Tony Watt to be dropped for the Celtic game told me that there was a dressing room issue. Not a dressing room issue with Liam Fox, because if there was a dressing room issue with Liam Fox would have been given his P45 as well and told, see you later. So it appears to me that Jack Ross didn't bear fruition to what Dundee were searching for.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to end the show about the championship. I know Dave's going to the championship tomorrow. So, what would be your pick of the championship games, guys?
Who's Partick got tomorrow again?
I'm not too sure, Dave, but talk to us a bit about your game then, Hamilton against Arbroath.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one because if Arbroath win tomorrow, Arbroath jump above Hamilton and Hamilton go bottom, which would be a sore one for Accies considering. It'd be a sore one considering they're fine winning in Inverness on Tuesday night because it was a very good performance from Hamilton and a very good result. And if we flip the coin here, I didn't think Arbroath were particularly impressive on Wednesday. They got to some good areas. Arbroath, they don't dominate games, but they get a lot of possession in the middle of the ball. They're quite good in terms of their possession in the middle of the park, but they don't have a striker to score goals. They don't have a Newley, they don't have a Hamilton. And that's where their problem is just now. And that's why Arbroath just simply aren't scoring goals or indeed winning games of football at this precise stage of the season. Rafe did, to a degree, score against the Running Play Wednesday, but it's one of those that if you're Dick Campbell, you can play all the lovely football you want, but if you don't get a result, you've every right to be angry. Not angry at the players, but angry at how the game's evolving. That's for Rafe Rovers. Well, for them to be showing a bit of resilience and have it weather storm for certain periods of the game and then go and score that goal. And then Rafe Rovers were on the better side of the second half. I'm not going to lie to you on that. So they were comfortable, but they did have to weather a bit of the storm. It's a very good 3 points for the Money side. And they go to Inverness now to right and wrong to an extent. 22 years since Rafe Rovers have beaten Inverness, Caledonian Thistle. Can that change tomorrow?
Sorry.
Just to run through the games tomorrow, guys. I've got them here. Arbroath Hamilton that day's going to Ayr United against Cove, Dundee against Morton, Inverness is at home to Rafe Rovers, and the game Dave gave asking about Packet Thistle against Queen's Park. That's not a bad game, actually.
I think I'm going to go now, Mike. I've just seen it there. I can get a bus straight there. I'm going to go. That'll be a great game.
That's a good game. And also, when we're talking about football, guys, as well, don't forget that, obviously the Scottish Cup song tonight, but there's some cracking games tomorrow as well, like East Kilbride against Caledonian, Elgin City's playing as well, Kilwinning and Rangers against Forfar. There's a lot of games. Bucky against Broomhill.
I'm just running through the games here, Michael. In League One, you've got Clyde versus Queen of South, Falkirk against Kelty Hearts, Edinburgh City. They're playing well. The FC Edinburgh, they're top of the league. Would I be right in saying? Then you get Montrose against them, the Dunfermline. Then you've got Peterhead versus Brian Wrighty's Alloa. So it's going to be a big weekend, Michael.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of exciting games coming up, Dave. I mean, when you look at the Scottish Cup games, it's like, I don't know how many games there are, but there must be about 90. There must be about 15 games that are easy tomorrow. And but just so disappointing that no highlights again. Sorry, guys, I'm on my high horse, but one of the games should have been on the telly, because remember that years ago that they used to show you the highlights.
The Scottish Cup. Well, Michael, I'm gonna rephrase the question here. They do all the highlights on YouTube. I know it's not the same as television, but they do all the highlights on YouTube, and I think the SFA need to be applauded for that.
Yeah.
Aye.
No, I know.
I
Yeah.
suppose they'll not be as big as the locker room on YouTube, because I know Dave, Michael, and myself are big names on YouTube. But yeah, I mean you can watch the Scottish Cup as well.
Okay, guys. Thanks for being here tonight. We'll be back on Sunday for the big review, and then on Tuesday when Kentucky. And thanks, good day. Thanks, good Reagan. Have a good weekend, and don't eat too many pies. We'll see you soon.